Marcus Swagoo Spears, former Cowboy, makes his home in Dallas. Big fella, the floor is yours. What was the single biggest reason the Cowboys lost this game yesterday?
Sense of urgency, G. Like in these type of games, man, and being in these games when I had to go to Philly with the Dallas Cowboys to win, the sense of urgency, the drops, the inability to not get people on the ground, Miles Sanders, i.e., you look at Carson Wentz, played a great game, but 17 points. Philly wanted to give Dallas the game. They tried to hand it to him 4 or 5 times throughout the day, and Dallas couldn't capitalize on it. And this is exactly what we talked about week in and week out. What team will show up? We just saw them 2 weeks ago show up against the Rams and say, man, that's a scary team if they can consistently play that way. But I give the Eagles credit. The only thing I don't like is the pettiness by Dan to act like Carson Wentz threw for 500 yards and they scored 40 points. We all watched the game, and I gave Carson Wentz some credit during the game, and he deservedly so made some throws. But let's not act like they scored 40 on the Cowboys. It was 17-9, and the Cowboys actually had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to win the game.
All I hear when you talk there is wah, 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 wah. They scored 17 with me playing receiver, no right tackle, decimated by injuries against your defensive stars. Your defensive stars. You told me to keep that same energy when I talked about these quarterbacks. And they both had the same, you know what? They didn't. They both didn't have the same table set. One was using plastic utensils. One had really fine china. One dominated and one didn't.
Quick question.
Yeah.
How many drops did the Cowboys have?
6.
I think 6.
That's on the quarterback? Because I heard you use that same argument when they were dropping passes for Carson Wentz. Am I wrong?
And I stated that today, that the drops were a factor. How many missed passes were there?
Okay.
How many missed passes were there?
He missed. It's the same thing we talked about with Carson Wentz, Dan.
Nah, man.
The same exact thing.
You're not getting away from that.
Did we not talk a couple weeks ago about Carson Wentz missing receivers? Everybody on Get Up panel, did we have a conversation about Carson Wentz missing passes?
And I told you guys you were making stuff up. I told you guys that was not the case. Missing receivers that you've never played with that are just coming off the practice squad is different than missing a wide open Amari Cooper on 3rd down.
I think it's a foregone conclusion Dak is going to get a contract. And I'm not sure if the missed throws were enough to deter Jerry and Steven, obviously, in not giving him a contract. But obviously, when you're in these particular situations and you talk about how you go to the negotiating table, especially when you've bet on yourself like Dak has, you better believe they're going to bring this up. Listen, I've been a part of the contract negotiations. Rex, Dan has, most of the guys that's on that show. What these front offices and owners do is pull every negative portion of your game out to try to get every million or every 100,000 that they can back. And that conversation is going to creep in based on this game. But Dak is tough. Dak played through, obviously his shoulder was hurting. He missed some throws, like I'm saying, but he also made some throws. And he also did some things to help his football team win. And the coaching staff didn't do some things to help the team win. So I'm not sure if it has that much impact, but it definitely will be brought up when you go back to the negotiating table. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis, download the ESPN app, and for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.